maybe I wrongly expected too much. And then I thought you would have understood. That's when I felt betrayed. Like, you should understand me. But now that we are where we are, you think about it, right? It's actually quite ridiculous to expect somebody to read your mind when you don't communicate, right? So now I'm very big on communicating it clearly to other people.
Hey guys, welcome once again to another episode of Hot Topics, a show where we try and attempt to explore topics that pack a little heat, especially in the church community. And today's episode, we don't know. It could be explosive. It could be nothing. Because we're exploring a topic that has, how can I say this? Being in the church world for so long, and having many friends in the so-called industry, we go through this a lot. Even as a kid, I went through it as more passively.
Yeah.
And we're talking about conflict in church. Okay, we know conflict happens everywhere. But today we're specifically talking about church conflict.
Yep.
And the way that we want to do it today is we're going to tell our story.
Yep.
And I have with us Pastor Kevin Liu, lead pastor of Collective, my pastor, my boss, and my friend. And maybe that's why it complicates things as well.
Yep.
Welcome to the show.
Introduction is complicated enough.
So, how honest do we want to go?
All the way, man. Might as well.
All the way, huh?
Yeah.
Even if this breaks our
Yo.
good run right now.
Yeah. It won't lah.
Yeah, of course you won't. We are in a better place where we can talk about it and process what happened.
Yeah.
So, just to give a background to you guys hearing this, Pastor Kevin and I went through a very, very difficult time a few years ago during the pandemic. And maybe it was all things added together as well, work stress and all. And we had a big blow up, a conflict that honestly I thought it will never be resolved at that time. I don't know if you felt the same way.
Yeah.
It was
At some
just
stage.
I've never went through it before. Something like that. We've worked together for so long. Just to give you a background, the audience a background. I joined the church in late 2005. We met at a previous conference prior to that, but we never really connected. In 2005, when I joined the church, you connected with me personally. And when I joined the church, I almost didn't want to stay in it because the culture was very different.
Yep. I remember, yep.
Yeah, it was very militant. Everyone's like a robot.
Yeah.
It's like, woo. And
We didn't feel that though.
yeah,
At that time.
because you guys were
Not
in
at
it.
all. Yeah.
It's like a cult, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, when you're in a cult, you won't know you're in a cult. But, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. So when I joined, it's like, oh, this culture is very different. And is this the church that I want to be at? Is it the people that I want to be doing church with together? But I gave it a chance because you reached out to me personally and then we somehow clicked.
Yep.
We connected. We became friends as well. We hung out a lot together, going for food and just going for dinners. And after a while, I decided I'm just going to give this church a chance. I'm going to stay on, but I didn't want to serve. I remember very clearly. And one thing that I appreciated that you did was, although you knew I came from a music background, you didn't force me
No.
to serve. You didn't push me. But after 3 years, I said, hey, Pastor.
That long?
Yeah, that long.
Wow.
That long.
Okay.
I'm ready to serve. And that's when I started serving and being more involved. That was the year 2005. That's like 20 years ago. And time just flies. Shortly after that, in 2008, I joined the staff team. And that was when we started to work really closely together. And that's when we saw each other pretty much every day. And I'm sure we had good times and bad times, but it's always been, part and parcel of work.
Yeah.
And I think it just gets complicated because, like I said, you're my pastor, but you're also my boss. And we were also quite friendly, we were buddies in a way, ran together, went out together, hung out together. And it just blurred a lot of lines as well. It's both very fulfilling as well as frustrating at the same time.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, what were your thoughts like in the early days,
Yeah, the early days, right? I think when you came along and we crossed paths, you are probably the first person that that I actually first see as a friend before a member. Now, please, I know Pastor Keith is listening to this. He's definitely a friend. But even though when he worked in the church, the relationship was just pastor and me. Well, we are cordial, nice to each other, close to each other, very, very close. He's like, one of the buddies that did everything with me. But when you came along, your identity is slightly different. It created quite a fair bit of tension with other people as well. Because I have no point of reference. This guy is a friend. And then, of course, he's a member. And then he joined church as a staff.
Okay, I'm curious to know right now, what kind of tension?
I think, so the earlier ones will think it's not fair. Kysern get a lot of benefit or a lot of grace in a lot of things. I've also come to a place where I was also developing as a leader. So, of course, I'd like to know that I wasn't as militant after that. But at the same time, because they just looked at me as a pastor, and even though they started working at the church, so the relationship was pastor and member and friend, all that. But we started off as friend, purely friend with, I wasn't trying to recruit you to join the staff team and, So I think that was a dynamic that I never actually had in my life. So I got no point of reference. I don't know how to go about doing this. And I was trying to, I should maintain the friendship. I don't want you to become, suddenly you become a member, then we're not friends anymore. Then it will make my walk with God really horrible. But it at the same time presented itself with, I know that there are people who left because of our friendship.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean,
they're jealous.
I knew there were tensions here and there, again, because, not fair, what's this preferential treatment, or Kysern will never get scolded. Okay, for context, we came from a culture where a pastor scolding a member is the
fair.
norm.
This
is the norm, right?
That's true.
And honestly, I've never been scolded. And that's something that people always bring up. Pastor just will always favor Kysern, But I never knew people had left because of that.
Yeah, they left the staff team because they just felt it was unfair. But at the same time, I mean, I'm really happy we can talk about this today, because at the same time, it's a friendship first, and I came to a place, I already have a son by then. So quite a fair bit of me changed on the inside. I also didn't feel very comfortable keep scolding people. At first, I thought that's what a pastor should be doing. And when you came along as a friend, so it kind of like, do I actually have to scold you for no reason? And so it's a very interesting phase of my life.
I remember those days, we would have like production rehearsals. We do a lot of big drama and all. I will be involved in the music, directing the music, as well as helping out with the direction of the rehearsals. And man, it was like those days, right? It was just tense, and people were just, there are times when you're just screaming, right? You scream at the video crew and like
the lighting crew.
Lighting crew.
I want to say first before we continue, I'm not proud of those moments.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay.
Yeah. But that was just to give the listeners context.
Yes.
People who have not journeyed with us from those days. One of the things I realized when I came to the church, again, this is the benefit of having a fresh pair of eyes.
Yeah.
I always wonder, why is there so much fear? Why is there such a fear-based culture? Because I came from a background where I did not fear my pastor. I respected him.
Yep.
Maybe I didn't like certain things that he did, but I never feared him. But when I came to the church that I'm glad to say that it's no longer that case right now. But at the time, why is everyone so scared?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, pastor coming. Or kena scold. And everyone's just so scared of making mistakes. And that was the culture, unfortunately, that I'm sure if I asked you even at that time, that wasn't what you wanted.
No.
But somehow it was, that was what it was.
Yeah. I don't know how it became like that. But it also confused me. Some of those that gotten scolded the most are still some of those who are closest to me.
Yeah.
And some who hearsay, kena scolded before, are those who are at the fringe and disappeared. I guess I just didn't know how to process any other emotion, the desire to do well. We blur the line whether it was excellence or perfection. So it kind of like pushed everybody. But yeah. Also, I really think we just didn't know any better how to get things done other than yelling everybody into aligning with whatever we're trying to do. So when you came along, like I said, I think the starting point was you came as a friend first in a relationship, in our friendship, right? So you will offer me, how about we do this? I want you to know, nobody actually had the courage to tell me, Pastor, how about we do this? So for a start, it was fresh and it was nice. Oh, actually, people can contribute. Because when I just keep scolding, right, people will think that I automatically will not welcome feedback to change certain things. But it's actually not true. But because my body language was already like that, there to come and give you opinion, right? So, but of course, now we look back.
Yeah, benefit of
we're
hindsight.
older now, and benefit of hindsight. Of course, right?
Yeah, so that's one thing that I tried hard to understand because I know my dynamics with you was different from the very beginning. Also because of the timing when I came into the picture and also my stage of life coming into the picture. You knew a lot of these people when they were students.
Yeah.
You knew me as a professional back then before I even worked with you. So it was just a different stage of life. And I remember one of the early days where we tried to, where I don't know why, when I came into the team, I had this personal mission where I want to help you build the team.
Yeah.
So it's beyond my scope of work, just doing whatever I'm supposed to do on paper. But there was a deeper mission that I really wanted to help build this team. And one of the things that I really wanted to do was to change this culture, to or at least contribute towards that. And I don't know if you remember the first time we ever did an offsite meeting. We didn't know how to do it. I had certain ideas, read certain books, learn certain things. Okay, let's try this right now. And we tried to let's talk about our culture. What do we want to change? And I remember, and just being very honest here, we came to a point where it was hard to have that conversation because we sensed you were getting upset. And we're like, okay, Pastor, cannot take it. He's going to be angry. I think we have to just be softer. And
Which offsite was this?
It was remember? In a very crappy place in Bukit Tinggi. Before Jandabai became popular at the time, and maybe it was Genting View or something like that. You know what? It's like bait with bed bugs and that kind of place.
Yeah.
And we just had to stop the conversation, or at least not go where we wanted to go because you were getting upset. And I'm saying this is like maybe 15 years ago kind of story, right? And it was just hard to even have that conversation because I felt if we can't even have an open conversation, we can't change things because it will always be, yes, Pastor says, authoritarian, hierarchical, that kind of culture. And that's what we want to change. We want to create a safe space for people to actually contribute and even disagree sometimes. But we realized that it was very, very hard in those days. I don't know if you felt that.
Yep. Like I said, over time, I have grown. I think at that point, the reaction was, I was afraid because I don't know where we're heading. I don't know what would this end up in. I had a model that I followed, and that was how I was being raised and brought up. So there was a lot of question. I was getting upset because so from my position, from my vantage point, it's very different.
Yeah.
So say for example, if you will talk to me or Keith were to talk to me, I'm perfectly fine. I know your intention, your motive. So motive is a big thing for me lah. But when some guys that contribute a thought, an idea, or voice their opinion, so this is my struggle. It's like, dude, you don't even like regularly attend church. You lead your cell group and then you don't lead whatever. And you want to say something. So in my mind, I already discredit the person. So then if I say, for example, at that time, I allow him to voice whatever he voiced out. And of course, when they lower down the expectation, everybody, of course, will be agreeable. All right, then what will become of the church? Will we still have a standard? Will we compromise and all that? But at that point, right, I cannot. I'm like, so what are we trying to get to? I think it is something that I learned that probably a lot of other pastors need to know, that where is that safe space that these people can talk about some of these changes. That because it's just different from where I look at. I realize if I'm not in this position, I will probably be the one that is leading that conversation to another pastor or to my pastor, or because I will. But I just wasn't sure of others. I'm very sure of my own team. I wasn't prepared that it was like opening up. When I say opening up, like even to all the other staff members, if I have a few, I hear their input. So that was what I was grappling with at that time.
Because even from the staff team's perspective, we are at a very different place right now.
Oh yeah.
And the way we have conversation right now, even the way we disagree, of course we can do better.
Of course.
But there's more room right now to have conversations. But those days, I actually realized that if I say something, it'll probably go down better compared to someone else saying it. And it just became a thing. If Kysern say sure, okay,
then they ask Kysern to tell me.
So over the years, it just developed that way, where people will come to me with their struggles, with their issues, and I'll hear them out. And I will like, okay, then I'll give my point of view. And if it needs to be brought to you, usually I'll be the one, okay, never mind. Let me help you talk to pastor, and I may repackage it and present it in a more
palatable
a more effective way. And somehow, it was never my plan, or it was never what I wanted to do, but I just wanted to, okay, since I can do that, why not I just help by doing that? And I think after a while, people just started seeing me as that person. That Kysern talk show okay one.
Yeah.
And after a while, like, okay lah, I'll just help lah. And I just took that as my role. That I'll be the one to always present a certain problem to you because you will look at it more favorably. And yes, I know what people say about me, like, everything Kysern do, show okay one, he won't get scolded. And in a way, I felt that wasn't fair to me.
Yeah.
Because it felt as if everything that I do, I was so-called successful because the boss favored me.
Yeah. You took over Keith's role.
Yeah. Perhaps.
In the early days, it was Keith that was,
Yeah. And then I'm like, is it not because that I did well as well? It's always just, you're the favorite one, that's why. And I felt it was very unfair to me as well.
Yeah.
But this was just internal conversations that I was having. But I became that spokesperson.
Yeah.
I became that person to bring to you the issues and the problems. So why we're going back so far is because I think this leads on to the dynamics of what happened, why it turned out that way.
Yeah.
So I've always been that guy. And I think over the years, I have certain thoughts of my own of how a leader should lead.
Yeah.
And to be very honest, I think you were not matching some of those expectations.
Yep.
Whether rightly or wrongly so. You were not matching those expectations. And I realized that not only did I think that way, a lot of people thought that way. You had certain great qualities as a leader. I mean, why would I still want to follow you, right? If not. No. And in fact, I tell that to people. Yeah. When people come ask me, hey, why pastor like that? Why you still follow him? I actually tell them this, like, really, I follow him for the leader he is, not who he is not. But to be very honest, over the years, that became more and more difficult. As more and more people came up with their struggles and they pour out to me. And I'm not the only one that people pour out to. They even do it to Keith as well, to other leaders, hoping that someone will do something to be able to speak to you. And after a while, I began to see certain things on my own as well. Like, hey, you know what? I don't think a pastor should be leading this way. And these are just very honest thoughts. And that's why we even started to have those conversations, and we had efforts, to even change our culture. To be very clear, it's not just the pastor who was the problem. Of course not. It's a culture that we have as well.
Yeah.
So I wasn't perfect. I mean, none of us were perfect, and we tried to lead the church in a certain way.
Yeah.
That's why we even have like offsite meetings,
Yeah.
just to get away from our environment, to talk about our culture, to change things. And during one of our blow-ups, you actually said that, you know what, after a while, all these offsites, it's just a session to bash me.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
It's just a complaint about pastor session. It's just a, you know what, wow, this is an opportunity right now where we can just bash the leader, you know? Yeah, so maybe you can share your side, going through that.
Yeah, I think it's unfair and very scary if everything is compiled together and offsite made it feel like this is the moment for you to air all your grievances to the pastor. I think in a normal friendship, if, say, for example, say last week, something happened in the service, I say, hey, Kysern, shouldn't be like that. It should be addressed like that. Okay, all right. Situationally, then we kumpul all this, like gather all this thing, right? Ammo, bro, we need to talk already. Then I bash you from, January 17 service. This is what happened. 19, when we went there. I don't think even in a friendship it works. So I don't think offsite was meant to be that.
Yeah.
But that's how I felt after a while. Everybody just have a go at it. And then I'm like, okay, so what should I do now? Do I try to defend myself? Do I explain? Do I not explain? Do I let it be? So a lot of questions went through my head. And I'm like, okay, will you be around or not if really all else fail? And I think that's something that consumed me quite a lot. I want to just make it very plain, simple. If I know that this person is going to go all the way with me to when we either retire or move on or whatever, that person will automatically have a lot of ground in what they say to me. But if I am somewhat not sure, and this guy is like, yeah, should have done this, done that. But I look at them like, I'm not very sure if 2 years down the road, this guy will be around. I would discount whatever they say to like, down to like 5% to don't care. So there was this weighing system in my head. It's very difficult, but then Keith will say something and I will value that higher. So it's actually a lot of things going on, and whether they were bashing me or not. And this is a good thing about the pandemic, because of our fallout, I got so much time to think. And I also think that this is really comes with the job. It is the person sitting in this role that will always find it very difficult. I'm the founder of this church. I'm not God, but I started everything. So there's this huge responsibility in me to making sure if I hear all these things, I probably will not be very receptive. I will go home and think about, and those days, so many of these conversations in my head. This person said this, that person said that. Which one is really valid? Which one is not? Because at the end of the day, anybody can leave except me. So I got this thing. Can you imagine if I listen to somebody's recommendation and I think it is the thing to do and I change it because, then after I change it, the person's gone. I'm like, what? So now am I leading properly, or am I just trying to, get feedback and do whatever So it was a very difficult season, trying to hear so many things, which one to take, which one not to take. And if I take some suggestion, does it feel like I'm biased towards this person and against another person? So yeah, it was quite a lot to process at that time.
And I think I also observed that because I think initially the culture was the leadership is not open to feedback. And I think we have to admit that was the culture we came from. Leader knows best.
Yeah.
You are the one who are the foot soldiers.
Yeah.
You just listen. Then it came to a point where I did see you were trying You were trying to get more feedback. You were trying to be more open. And that came the other frustration. Man, this guy doesn't know what he wants.
Yeah.
As a leader.
Oh, yes.
Remember that season?
Yes.
And this frustrated your wife, Esther, so much as well, because we were in the leadership team together. And this frustrated us also because, man, just make a decision. But you wanted to hear everybody out. And hearing is fine, but we felt you were just swinging to the other side of the pendulum.
Yeah.
And that was also very frustrating.
Yeah. Because it was so imagine from no other options to 100 other options. It's like, okay, which one? Then every time, every day I got to weigh out all these things. But I have since learned all these are just things to help me discover who I really am and what I really think I want for the team. I cannot say I'm 100% best now, but at least I can weigh things out and be a lot more decisive than it used to be. Because prior to that, right, I have not been in any church environment. I mean, I have only worked with my first church, the church that I pioneered, and then this one. Never in those three environments all together, I have this optic of seeing, wow, the staff can voice out different things and then the pastor wait. So I actually got no point of reference. I don't know, like all my life is the pastor deciding and everybody happily doing. Then in my mind, like, how come I'm deciding? No, not everyone's happily doing. That was really confusing. I don't know where to find a point to learn. How should that look like? But I want to say, I'm really scared by people who make comments and then after I embark on those changes, the person's gone. Actually, that's my greatest fear. So as long as I'm assured that, of course, nobody should be guaranteed running with me forever. But if I am somewhat assured that this person really meant well and not just airing grievances for complaining sake, I think I will be able to see that a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, we can't go into too much detail of our journey. It's like almost 20 years worth of stories and experiences. But I hope that gives the listener a bit of a context of what the dynamics were like for us. And then the pandemic came.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So we weren't at a very unhealthy stage at first. Although there were frustrations, I'm sure. Me to you and you towards me and maybe normal part of working life, right?
Yeah.
But when the pandemic came, of course, we were all stressed up.
Yep.
And I remember we went online and I'm so thankful for the team. But it came to a point where I was also very mentally not very healthy because I realized that in the first days, there's no off day for me. We were just working and then the next day after the Sunday, we're just figuring out how to shoot the videos, figuring out how to do the online sermon, what can we do, what can we not do, and the rules keep changing all the time. And then come Monday, we have to review the videos and then we have to plan for the next one. We had to transport the gear to one person's house to the next and all these. Okay, this is my, not in a healthy state at the time because I was leading the team, the creative team, so the production side. I'm like, wow. Before I go there was a comment by one of our team members as well. Wow, actually, pandemic not so bad. I wake up, I spend time with God. It's quite nice lah. Wow, in my heart, I'm like, wow, you very nice you very nice. Well, me and my team, we have to do all we do. And then after that, when the video comes out not so nice, you complain about it, you critique it. I'm like, oh, very nice, your side. It was unhealthy. It was unhealthy because that was just the nature of the beast at that time. I was leading this team and I felt I was calling a lot of the shots as well, just deciding, which honestly, I don't mind doing those things. But when I saw hey, how come we are the only stressed ones and other people are enjoying themselves and I don't get me wrong. I know everyone goes through their own struggle, even at that time, loss of income and things like that. But I'm just saying from the perspective of us as a team. And then that's where you also started to do more content as well on your own. And long story short, you also went into a venture of your own in personal coaching as well. And that was a big issue not just with the team, but with the church as a whole. Because people were like, oh, nowadays, pastor, is he still a pastor? Or is he a coach now?
Yeah.
Or do I have to pay money to see pastor right now? Hey, how come his Instagram post is no longer church related? It's always with these people, you know, from the industry or people that he's trying to network with or what. And people were like having a lot of these questions and this frustration. How can a pastor be like that? A lot of them came to me and a few other leaders as well. And these were all the things that I had to like handle during that time also.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure you were aware of those happening.
Yeah. What's the question?
Yeah, maybe this is where like,
Okay,
what's your take during that season?
It's a very, I don't know what's the word, but it was a developing season. With all that was happening, I didn't plan to go into training online and all that. What happened was I started doing this live leadership because somebody, Shangi just asked me. I was more than happy. Where can we go anyway, right? Every night we're at home. So he started asking me all this leadership question, and he was quite persistent and regular, consistent as a person. So it went on for 30 over episodes. That's when people start asking, do you actually have a curriculum we would like to be trained? That's when we talk about that. And we started doing it. So this was the problem. I didn't know that me trying to figure things out bother some of these people so much. It wasn't like I'm doing any crime, right? I started doing the training, and it's funny. It was me trying to reach out to the world, doing training, and I'm a pastor. So when we first opened up the training, I said, okay, let's charge 99 ringgit. It's church conference price, right? Then he told me, 99? I don't want to do. Huh? I said, then how much? 149. I said, 149 is good, or 179. I said, no. If it's $100, let's not do it. Then he said, let's do 1499. I said, who would sign up? So internally, I am grappling with the lack of confidence. Nobody will listen to me if I charge 1499. Say, don't you worry about that. I take care of that part. So it was me. So I wasn't sure. So I started. I did the first one with him, and quite a fair bit of people signed up. I was quite surprised. So I was still in the midst of figuring out what is this going on. So after I did my session, some of them asked me, okay, we don't know who you are, but because Shengi invited you, then you must be quite trustworthy. Where are all your content from? Do you know, right, Kysern? That was when I shocked myself. I'm like, Bible. I'm the pastor. It's like, oh, wow. Bible's good stuff. So I then suddenly I changed. I realized people do appreciate if the word of God is taught in a proper setting. So when I realized that, I started to change, and I felt it was a good place for me. So to do more of this, let's try. After all, we're at home anyway, right? I got to shoot my sermon, and then I get to do this that doesn't interfere with my work. So that was the beginning. And for the first time, I meet so many non-Christians in my life. So you imagine from my perspective, then now people are asking me about faith, about God, about Jesus. I want to tell you, before I knew that there was this commotion of people querying me, I was actually very excited to break the news. Hey guys, you know what? I actually met a lot of non-Christian friends that I can now reach out to and talk to them about God, and they even pay for the session. And so because making money was not the intention, but because it pays, so I gave back the salary. The first 2 months when it pays, I gave my salary because it's pandemic. I gave it back. So I thought in my world, on my side, on my corner, wow, I can give more I can reach out to people. I cannot wait to tell my team. And then that was a shock.
Yeah.
I was, wow, I couldn't understand why so much pushback. So, of course, now we can talk about it.
Yeah.
It wasn't healthy at all after that.
Yeah.
It was all a mess. Then after that, I was like, forget it. I'm not going to explain to anybody.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So our struggle was not that you were doing these things. I mean, at least personally for me and the people that I've spoken to, it was not because you were doing these things. But some of us, including me, felt that you were doing this to the neglect of leading the church. It's like we felt you were divided in your focus and attention.
Yep.
And because of this thing right now, which is great for you personally, but because of that, the cost is, he lost focus in leading the church, especially in a season when the church is going through so much struggle in the pandemic and all. I'm like, why isn't he focused on leading the church? So that was
Yeah.
where we were coming from.
Yeah. So that was, of course, now I know that was what this side is thinking. I was actually feeling that, hey, I'm going to discover how to go about doing this and whether this thing will, because at that time, it was just a one-off thing. I thought it was a great opportunity to reach out and I didn't think I was distracted. But so this was, now I think back, that's what I wanted to say earlier. I have expectation from people closest to me that they will know that while I'm doing this, it was never at any point at the cost of this church. Because this is a place that I sacrificed the most all my life. So I realized that expectation that I have for this church or whatever I want to do here was never communicated. Maybe to the earlier people I have. So with that team, the current team, the team at that time. So I'm like, why don't understand me? So I was constantly thinking, right? So if I have a training again, so I make sure, it would never jeopardize church and whatever income, it will go back to church. Because the giving pattern was so erratic and nobody knows what's going to happen. I didn't know. So I was like, okay, at least this part I can do to help the church. But when the pushback was like that, I was shocked, man. I was like, so then I realized, there was a very big mismatch of expectation. Like, cannot see, man, I'm already giving up. So actually, I mean, I hesitated for a bit to say I actually gave far more than I could during that period because I don't want I made a promise to God when we started church. Because we were a young church, we were students. I made a promise to God that if ever we come to a place that my team will be jeopardized in their salary, I will be the first one that take one for the team. It's a personal thing. It's not like I'm going to tell everybody this how I live, right? So when that happened, I thought, okay, I'm going to take one for I just want to make sure my team is okay. And that comes with that role, I think. I want to make sure my team's taken care of. So that was actually all in my mind. So I actually never imagined that anyone feels that I'm neglecting the church, which was my bad lah, right? But in my mind, I'm just so consumed in making sure that everything is okay.
Yeah.
So that was my perspective. Yeah.
So all this was pretty much boiling up, and it didn't just start during the pandemic. It just escalated everything. So all these sentiments, all these expectations that we have of you as a leader, and frustrations we have of you as a leader as well, were all built up over the years. So when the pandemic came and all this came about, it came to a point where it reached a boiling point.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? You talk about taking one for the team, right? I'm like, okay, let me take one for the team. I'll be the one to go and talk to you because we have that relationship.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember that night at your house.
Yeah.
you were still staying down the street from me at the time. And I just, hey, I need to talk to you. Then you said, come over. Came over, and I don't remember the full conversation. Looking back, I guess I wish I maybe presented it better as well, communicated it better, but I was also struggling.
Yeah.
But one thing I remember I said, maybe not word for word, but something along the lines, Pastor, you're not being a very good leader right now. And when I said that, my point was, I know what you can be. And you're not that right now. And we want to hope and we want to help you also, if we can, to be the leader that we know you are. And so I had all those intentions. And after that, we talked, and that night sort of ended well. Do you remember that? Then we prayed for each other, then we went back. And I thought, okay, wow, thank God, But then that wasn't the end of it. And I don't remember what happened next, but you said something like, whatever I said, just played in your mind and played in your mind, and you just couldn't process it or something like that.
Yeah, actually, right, after that night, I actually don't know what happened. So, because like I said, in my mind, everything that I was doing was really to making sure everyone's taken care of. The church is taken care of. The apart from the staff salary, the loan is like the heaviest burden of all. Like,
the building loan.
The building loan,
that we have
right?
to pay every month.
Like, it's like 100,000 a month. So that consumes me. So I was so when you came to talk to me, so after all that you said, I couldn't process because what am I not doing yet? So I couldn't figure out. It was really a blur. I knew you came to talk to me. It was cordial, but I actually don't know like what's happening.
Yeah, and
it was tough.
Yeah, so
it just lingered on.
Shortly after that, I think maybe a couple of days later, you called me to meet with you again, and this time was in your office.
Did I call or not you?
I think you were the one who called.
Okay.
That's why I remember. He said, hey, you know what? Can we talk again? And I remember coming to your office. This was about maybe 10 p.m. at night. You met with someone else before that, actually. And that was when it all exploded.
Yeah.
That was when it was a shouting match. That was when you shouted at me, I shouted at you. A lot of things came out. And I was also shocked to a lot of things that you said, because a lot of it was personal as well. Like I said, there was a lot of dynamics between us, the friendship and all. And I sensed and I felt that, you know what, you were emotional already. We can't go reasonable anymore. But one of the things that you said was that I think you felt betrayed. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounded like as if you felt that I betrayed you as a friend, as a staff. Like, how come you don't have my back? And then you said, yeah, you know what? They even come to a point where, yeah, you and so, you were probably scheming, when you were planning the offsite, like, which was a shock to me. I don't know if you remember, but really, I mean, if you go honest, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, you know what? Sometimes in the cafe, when I come in, you will just leave and you go somewhere else. You just don't want to be associated with me. And I was like, where is this coming from? Like, I thought it was just work.
Yeah.
And I thought we want to tackle this, but why is it becoming so personal? Yeah. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, because like I said, right, in the beginning, it was friendship. And I held that very close to my heart. So when all this happened, so really, the biggest thing for me, the expectation was the understanding. So that was why, right, in the beginning, I really cannot figure out, like, all my mind is consumed in making sure, because the last thing I want, post-pandemic, we don't have a building anymore because we cannot pay. So I was really wondering, what is happening? Like, what is missing? Who is talking to who, but who is not talking to me? Like, why don't ask me? When I started doing the online training, it only took like 3 days in the whole scheme of things. 3 days I give up the church, man. So I just couldn't process. And so that night, I just thought, okay, let's go emotional or whatever. Just say whatever and then see what hits. Because I was really not sure what was going on and what else can I do. So, and then that's when I realized my expectation from you or Keith was actually to understand that, hey, I'm really just doing this for the church. And why can't anybody see it? So to me, that was the lowest low lah of my life. And I still remember there was this day, right? It was on Zoom one. Then there's like some key staff got to meet me on Zoom. And by then, it was no longer just even thinking about the church. My savings has depleted so much. And I have very little left. Because if that month, and I was trying to sell my house, because my family bought this new house that we're staying now. They paid for a big chunk of it in the beginning. And then it was a pandemic, then it was a handover. And nobody could view house, how to sell my house, right? So I had been using up all my money. So that day, and like, tell us. Then I look at the screen. In my mind, I'm like, I actually have no more money in my bank. And the staff still complaining and asking like, whoa. So then the meeting ended abruptly. It was the strangest thing. A property agent came to my house. And I said, how did you come in? Like, this is pandemic. Oh, I live next block. I brought a buyer. I'm like, are you sure? Yeah. The buyer came. 5 minutes. Okay, I buy. At a very low price lah. So I was like, I tried to take one, right? So the other thing is, all that I think about was the finance bit of the church lah. I honestly didn't think about the emotional bit, and that was the part that I didn't do, which I recognize, because then the guy bought the house, because after that Zoom call, if nobody came, I would have to start making phone calls to borrow money from people. I couldn't even survive the month. And I don't know what happened to me. Like, how did it become like that? So a lot of things bother me. And my mom had stroke. She had 5 strokes during the pandemic. So then, and in the midst of it all, there was one night, my brother and I drove my mom to UM at 2 a.m. And then they took her, and she wheeled her, the staff wheeled her in. Tak boleh masuk, kamu dua. Then I saw my mom being pushed in. She felt like she was having this death sentence. I told my brother, you run inside the hospital now. If not, I run inside and you stay with mom no matter what. And I stayed by the roadside till 4 a.m. in the morning. So I'm not very good in telling people this. I mean, now I feel better to talk about it. But at that time, I don't know who to say. I don't like to sell a sob story. So it's a lot of things going on. And so that's why I felt at that time, I just never knew how to communicate expectation properly. And I never asked what people think. And I think that was the biggest gap. In hindsight, if I look back now, I would love to be able to tell them, look, Pastor's doing this. I have an opportunity. And I get to share the gospel. I raise money for church. Yeah, I of course, I learned from probably one of the biggest chapters of my life.
And shortly after that blow up, I can't remember the timeline exactly. Things escalated even further. And if you remember, you were kind of, I don't know if the word is forced or strongly encouraged to take a sabbatical. That's when the eldership stepped in as well.
Yeah.
And to be honest, we were also, a few of us, we were also kind of frustrated with the eldership. We were like, you guys ain't doing your job, man. Again, rightly or wrongly so, right? But that was a sentiment at those times as well. And you had to take a 3-month break for your sanity and well-being. Can you describe what it was like?
Yeah, I think I came to a point, totally cannot function. My wife was very worried about me. I have an episode of taking sleeping pills before. And the last thing, Esther wanted to see was I go back into that. And, it's quite scary. People say if you have a relapse, you might not recover. So I just cannot function. Even if I just stay around, I'll be quite useless around. And so I left. That's when people still people were not happy or I wouldn't say not happy, but just don't know what was happening. It's just a lack of communication. And then when I hear how did he do it? Then I'm like, can people actually care for me as me, not me as pastor? I am really down to zero. I don't know how many stages, how many times my mother almost died. We still have other smaller issues, like people say I didn't care for them. I'm like, yeah, my mom also almost died. So I just cannot function. So I went away. I wanted to go very far. At first, I wanted to go America with the little money after we sold the house, right? Then we realized by the time you come home, your kids will have gone through 8 swab into the nose. I think even if you're not sick, you're also sick. So ended up going to Sabah. Do nothing every day like a zombie. Just trying to be present for the kids. I know I wasn't very. Then I met Pastor Philip. He wanted to meet me, which was very kind of him. And he spoke. There was one day he closed the clinic and said, Kevin, I need to talk to you. So I sat down, and then as he talked, something opened in my mind. Things that I realized I didn't do, things that I realized I should do, things that I realized I could have communicated. That was because I got this thing, like he said, if you're my friend, you should know what I'm thinking. So when you question me, then I'm like, Musi, my friend, or you get what I mean? So there was this thing going on, right? Then after I heard Pastor Philip talk to me, it's like a flick, a switch on, right? I want to tell you, as miraculous as it is, I know that day, I immediately got better. There was like the bottom, the rock bottom, then I started coming back up. So I came back. So yeah, I still have a few more weeks in Sabah. I came back. I knew exactly who I need to talk to one by one to explain to them, hey, sorry guys about this part. And I should have spoken to you. So I talked to them one by one, and you were the last one. But hang on.
Yeah.
Hang on. Before that, there was some episode that was very hurting for me. Then when I did speak to some people before I went, they said Pastor, we never work in church because of the money. I said, that's great to hear, but I never see you take a pay cut. You never offer anything at all to me. And now you tell me you're not here for money. I am really not here for money, man. I gave my son's education savings to keep things going. But you didn't do anything. So anyway, so then I talked. So finally, you're the last one. Because that was the most emotional one. Because I'm not talking to a staff only. I want to tell you, all my staff are my friends, but you were a friend first. And that hurts because maybe I wrongly expected too much. And then I thought you would have understood. That's when I felt betrayed. You should understand me. But now that we are where we are, you think about it, right? It's actually quite ridiculous to expect somebody to read your mind when you don't communicate, right? So now I'm very big on communicating it clearly to other people. So yeah, so I talked to people, apologized to them, then both of us were the last one.
So after you came back from your sabbatical, I think that's when you decided to come back and to go on the up. And that was when I went probably to my lowest. I've never ever felt unsafe before until those times. I felt I had a target on my back. I felt I'm being sort of pushed out of this organization or this team. I felt that, okay, because of whatever happened between us, you are kind of like sidelining me already to not include me in certain decisions anymore. Certain things, again, I'm not saying that you did it on purpose or you even did it, but that was how it was. And unfortunately, during our episode, there were also a lot of collateral damage with other people in the team as well. And honestly, I felt, not only I felt, but I even heard it. People blame me for what happened. Because I sort of stirred the pot, you know? And I'm like, dude, you were also in this. You were also very upset with Pastor. You were also frustrated. And I was just the one who did whatever I did. And now because things really went the way they went and it really exploded and I got thrown under the bus. That's how I felt. And it's like, okay. So I really, honestly, and I heard a lot of things which were not healthy and maybe they weren't true. They weren't rumors like, Pastor actually wanted, looks like he wants to make Kysern quit, you know, and that kind of thing. And I even heard things like that.
Can I tell you?
Yeah.
None of that ever came out from my mouth. In fact, I am most afraid that you or anyone in my team would leave. It's a very different perception. I was not ready to talk to you, but I will never want you to leave. Because the scariest thing for a pastor, from a pastor's perspective, is when people leave. Because it can never be enjoyable. Nobody, I mean, even those that totally disagree with me, I have never in this last 24 years wished somebody disappear from our community. Never. And some more, we are such close friends. The only struggle was I wasn't ready. And I didn't want, if I continue to, or if I initiate a conversation with you when I'm not ready, then we blow up again. Then all the effort that I try to recover, it becomes. So I did hear people say, Pastor, why don't you just leave? Pastor's happier. But I just didn't want to be a part of those conversations anymore. And
so those were really dark moments and dark days for me. I remember it was 2022 and probably one of the worst years for me as part of the team because I really felt I no longer belong in this team because of whatever happened, the frayed relationships, not just with you, but also with other people in the team. And one of my biggest struggles, like you said, you know what, you weren't ready to talk. But to me, my frustration was, walao, you're my pastor. I mean, you know where this is going, right? You're the shepherd, you know? If I'm not doing well, shouldn't you be the one coming to talk to me and initiating the conversation? Because to me, I'm like, man, if my staff, people who report to me are not doing well, I have to be the one being the leader to go down to them and like, hey, you know, are you okay? And now my boss, I just have to go upwards and so this is my from where I was coming from. You know?
I remember we talked about this, but it was actually very interesting, you know. I never told you what I think. I never thought you were not doing well.
So for me, the breakthrough came. There was one time I was driving up north to Alostar for something there. I was supposed to go with someone else, but so happened that person couldn't make it. So I ended up driving alone.
I'm sorry, if you guys are watching this, there's so many person. We just we don't want to say names, okay? I hope you understand.
So I ended up driving alone 5 hours. And that was probably divine because I had a moment with God. And there was this moment where I was just driving. You know me, listen to music or podcast all the way, you know. I just put on the very background kind of soaking in his presence kind of music. And I felt, God spoke to me this way with a thought that says, so what? Yeah, he's the pastor. He should have been the one maybe to approach you. And he did not according to your expectations. So what? And I felt him impressing upon me to actually approach you to initiate that conversation. And after a while, from then on, it didn't become about me and you anymore. It became about me and God already. Do I obey or do I not? Or do I want to hang on to my expectations, like he's the pastor, he should have done this. He's the pastor, he should. Do I want to hold on to that, or do I just obey? I wish I could say I straight away obeyed. I did not. It was a struggle.
Yep.
But in the end, I was like, okay, man, in the midst of everything, you know, I mean, I know you felt misunderstood, but I also felt so misunderstood as well. I felt blamed for everything, but never mind. It's become a me and God conversation already. And thank God that I eventually took that step. Yeah.
It's actually, you know, how it happened. Because you know why I didn't think you were not doing well? Because I felt you represented the people to talk to me, right? So in my mind, oh, you are the representative, right? So never actually. So there was one time, I cannot remember where, you said it in a passing. Maybe I was also not doing well. That's when it shocked me. It shocked me because I felt I was so insensitive as a pastor. I never, Kysern, I want to tell you, right, until that day, right, you say that maybe I wasn't doing well too. That was when it hit me lah. Like, could it be Kysern's not doing well too? It never crossed my mind until that point. So those are the things that I learned in this huge episode between the two of us and many others. Yeah, I just never thought that, you know, and it was very obvious that I thought it was very obvious that I was just not doing well. I was holding on. And yeah.
Of course, it took time. Yeah. So even though we said our sorries and there were even tears, you know, but it definitely took time. But I remember there was 1 year we did a draft day. Draft day is where we actually bring in all our
leaders,
serving members and team members to sort of have a vision casting day. And this draft day, we weren't really fully well yet. But I know that as a principle of God is that if we are not united, we don't have to be perfectly okay, but if we don't unite our hearts and if we don't do this well in terms of how we relate to each other, that's not how it is for a church, right?
Yep.
I mean, it's in the Bible, you know. That's how people will know God, when His disciples and if we love each other. And I decided the draft day that I remember I went to Esther, because even me and Esther also had frayed our relationship because of this. I just went to her, I gave her a hug, and I know we're not cool yet, but never mind. But that draft day was probably one of the best that we had. The worship, the whole day, and it seemed finally there was a turnaround. I'm not saying that I'm the only one who did all this. I know different people have their own stories as well, where they decided, you know what, enough is enough. I know all of us have had our wrongs in our conflict. And each one we're doing our best. How do we turn around right now and do what we can? And I think once we decided to do that, I think that's when things begin to change for us as a church. Because at the end of the day, God is relational. Doesn't matter how excellent we produce our service or our videos and all this, right? If we are not doing well with each other, that's not what a kingdom culture or a church is supposed to be. And I really saw that shift starting at that season when we all decided that, hey, you know what? Let's try to get along. Let's do this once again.
Yeah. Thank you. I really do want you to know, right? The scariest thing from my perspective is when people leave. So I never wish you leave. And I'm so thankful to God that you took the first step, because I just don't know whether I can hold down a conversation with you properly. And so I was afraid because also 2018 we renamed ourselves as Collective, right? I already had many years of baggage, of challenge. I'm like, God, give me a break, cannot on like, and then just recently I look back at our attendance, we actually grew to 1,007 before the pandemic hits. So I always use this to, I didn't blame God. I don't dare. But all these circumstances that like people are just having a good run, why, can I not have, just give me a break. Let's just be. And then with all this happened, but I really learned to learn to communicate. There's a lot of baggage in me, our upbringing. If you are my friend, you should know.
Yeah.
But it really shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But I'm glad. I don't think a friendship should not have conflict.
Yeah.
But should not be so big, right? But we survived through.
I mean, it's all really as cliche as it sounds, but cliche because it's real by the grace of God, right?
Yeah.
But also because we were both willing to go through that as well.
Yeah.
Take the lower position.
Yeah.
You've done that, I've done that. To just obey when it was not easy.
Yeah.
And of course, there were many times we did not as well. At least I can speak for myself.
Yeah.
But and the reason why I want to have this conversation is talking about conflict in church using our stories, because over the past few years, I've heard many stories. Each conflict probably have different sparked off because of different reasons. But I've had friends leave their churches, some not even in the ministry anymore because of tension and conflict. And that could have very well happened to me and you.
Yeah.
Thank God that we are here today sitting here having this conversation.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, because we were not taught.
No.
And looking back, there were so many ways I could have done things differently. I mean, you remember, right? There were meetings where I just banged with the tumbler on the table and I just walked off one day and we were shouting. And I realized that I also had a lot of rage in me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whatever I was saying, I still believe they're right. But because of the tone that I said it in, who's going to listen? So it's more of a skill as well that we were not taught. And looking back, like you said, you wish you communicated better also. But specifically, how would you think it would be helpful to church pastors or leaders, who are facing conflict or tension? What would you say, or what would your advice be?
I think all the lead pastors, senior pastors, the one big lesson is to remain humble. You only don't communicate because you're not humble enough to say it. I want to tell you, right, point blank, I just so egoistic. I could have just told you when it doesn't have to go full blown. Right at the beginning, right, when you started asking me questions, I could have just told you, hey, sorry, bro. It was so easy, right? You imagine, right? Hey, I'm sorry. Actually, I'm doing this because of that. The ego just prevented me from just saying to you. And then it spiraled all the way down to the point. I remember one night you said you didn't continue. I think it was in my office, that showdown. You said, I didn't think you want to continue as a pastor anymore. But you were partly right. I just didn't think I was qualified anymore. I just don't think, I wasn't going to quit, but I just don't think I'm good enough anymore. But it just all spiraled all the way down. But it's the humility to actually communicate. It's not just humility to serve or whatever. It's very humbling to say, Kysern, hey, I'm sorry. Actually, I want to do this to reach out to them. And I hope I can help the church. Let me know what else I can do. Had I not have the ego to withhold that, we would not have to go through the whole entire ordeal. I'm not saying, that this hasn't been good for us. It's important for the two of us, even with Keith.
Yeah.
But it's the ego that was preventing me. Like, come on, man, I already done so much. You still don't? Okay, forget it. All right, do whatever you want. That was the moment of pride, lah. So if you are a lead pastor, you're listening to us. Yeah, it really requires humility to sometimes communicate more to your team than you should, right? We always say over communication is better than not enough, right? But it's actually the pride that is preventing us. So And I don't want our church in any way, the moment we have a conflict. And these days, there's so many churches. You pack your bag, you go to another church. Before the same thing happen again, you pack your bag and you go to another church. So I hold on to a very simple thing. I don't want you and me to come to a place where there's no history between the both of us. That I delete your Facebook, delete your Instagram. I don't want to see anything that got to do with you anymore. And I think life will become so unchristian if that is how we deal with and we call that healing. I don't think it is lah. It shouldn't be like that. So,
but that was something that you were also, right? In terms of like, I don't want to see this person.
Oh yeah. Of course.
Something.
Of course.
They were like, why pastor like that one? Why he?
Yeah. Shouldn't lah. I don't think it should, although it will pain us a lot more. But yeah.
And I always think that a lot of things, it's really a skill problem also, like communication. And because I come from a corporate background, there was like different millennia. And I always remember, we always have training, right?
Yeah.
And one of the training sessions is conflict management.
Yeah.
And I think alongside the Bible studies and everything and all, I think probably one of the best things that we can learn is really how to deal with conflict, because that will always exist where humanity exists. And it's pure and simple communication breakdown sometimes, you know. But we never really learn how to relate well. And I think I've seen how you've grown as well after the whole conflict. I myself also have gone through a certain journey. Like, you know what? I got to learn how to use a different tone of voice and how do I communicate something. You know, just because you're right doesn't give you the right to speak in a certain way. You know, and all these things that we just have to learn.
Yeah, I think conflict management is hard enough. Church conflict management is a million times harder. It's so difficult. And I totally agree with you. What we in the community of faith lacking is not the right thing to do, but how to do it. We just don't have the avenue. You know, don't like it? Change church, right? Change these people, change that people. But when you look back, you will actually never grow, right? So yeah, it is something that is very, very needful. And it will be even more needful because there are going to be more and more churches around. And in a city like KL, so big, once you leave, the chances of you not seeing that person again is maybe 99.9%, right? So it's not healthy in any way. I have heard the Lord convicted my heart many, many times. What else you want to do now? It is about time you reach out to that person. So humility again, to eat the humble pie and say, hey, how are you doing? I'm sorry. It's my journey. It's between God and me.
Yeah, and of course, a lot of times it's due to upbringing and culture. That's why I think for any group of people doing something together, whether it's a church or a company or if there's no open conversation in the culture, I think it's going to be very tough moving forward. Because again, conflict will always happen. Disagreements will always be there. And how do we deal with that if we don't build that culture early on? Even from now for us as well. If we don't continue building this culture, you and I will have another disagreement down the road for sure. And how do we tackle that?
I really want to speak from the lead pastor's position. You know, recently, I'm a board member of Mosaic, which I'm very, very grateful. But recently, Mosaic lost their building, Hollywood. And as I listened to the talk by Erwin, people ask him, how you feel losing the building? He said, this is just the culmination and the pinnacle of my failure as a pastor. Man, I almost crashed my car, bro. Like, what did he just... I have to rewind and listen again. This would be the last straw to tell you my failure as a pastor, as a leader in securing this building. And we have to move. I never heard anybody in that capacity would be so blatantly truthful and honest. And I want you to know that one statement shaped a lot of my thinking. That I never knew that I could or I should or, I ought to do that in a leadership position. It wasn't about, I want to protect my image. It wasn't about, I cannot show myself weak. No. I just never had a sample of someone saying, this is the culmination, the pinnacle of my failure. I lost the building. Man, it was powerful. Because I don't mind losing. But I just never saw anyone doing that. So yeah, it taught me a lot. It really taught me. And I think in leadership, in learning conflict, maybe the most humbling thing as a lead pastor is say, hey, you know what? I don't know. I failed you guys. And can we restart? It will heal a lot of people. It will heal a lot of conversation. It will help a lot of people to learn to piece things together.
Wow. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for talking about this.
Appreciate it. And I want to tell you that I really appreciate our friendship.
Oh, yeah.
Our relationship. And I think this really helps to strengthen it. I don't think I've said this, and I just want you to know that I really do appreciate you. We have our differences. And
wait. Sorry, you finish first.
Yeah, but I want to appreciate you as my pastor, my boss, and my friend as well. And I know there's been a lot of...
Why the friend part hard?
And I know there have been a lot of opportunities that you also provided me as well in this community. Maybe I've never said it before. And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. See, now I forgot what I wanted to say. Oh, man. Yikes. Yeah, yeah. It's mutual. It's same. I have a framework now how to lead someone who is a friend. I think that friend part will never change.
Yeah.
Cannot, right? How do I, because that's where we started, Keith started as someone that I lead. So it's different. And I want him to be honored and respected. So now I forgot what I wanted to say, but guys, you will have to wait for the next episode. But yeah, thank you for inviting me to talk about this. I think it's necessary.
Yep. And
quite cliche, right? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I hate it, man. I used to hate that statement. I'm like, you try go through it and see.
But I think I want to open this as well. If you're listening to this, you're a church leader, or maybe not even in the church community. If you're facing conflict in your workplace, or you find it hard to deal as a leader or towards your leader, or anything for that matter, do reach out to us.
Yep.
You can DM us on our Instagram accounts. With whatever little that we know going through this, we would love to help as well, especially people in the church community, because we know it's just sticky and complicated. But I
still cannot remember, but one advice is if you ever going to fight as early as possible.
Oh yeah.
It was so much easier.
Yeah.
So much easier.
I think learning how to fight well is one of the keys to a strong relationship, whatever relationship for that matter.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you again.
Love you, man. Thank you.
I love you too. Ooh, we should have saved this for the relationship podcast. Anyway.
No.
But we don't always do this. But I just thought, why not we close with a word of prayer?
Yeah.
Can you just pray for leaders who maybe are going through a tough time with leading people and going through this? Can you just close us?
Yeah. Come, let's pray. Father God, we thank you that firstly, Kysern had the courage to want to revisit this, a very difficult part of our lives. God, we thank you that in this last couple of years, we managed to process all this, articulate it better, recognizing what we were good at and what we were not. And God, I pray if there's anyone listening to us today we struggle. We just didn't know how to take that next step. I pray you understand and you learn humility to just start talking first and trust that God will work with you to do the rest. So God, I pray if those who have been hurt by leadership, I want to say sorry because none of us are ever going to do everything right. But I pray that God will give you the grace to see your leader, your pastor differently and allow for that conversation to take place. So God, I pray we're not making fun of this. It's a sacred moment and we submit to you so that God, we can truly learn and to be more Christ-like, not just as a tagline, but as a way of life. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Amen. I remember.
Oh, okay.
We are actually more similar than we're different. That's why we
fight.
struggle.
Yeah. That's why
Had we
fight.
been so different, we will not have those issues.
Uh-huh.
But because, so actually, I to be honest, right, I so hate to admit it. I was up in the mountain. Then I don't know why. I guess those time, right, my head was just bombarded with all these thoughts and conversation, right? Then there was one day, he's just like you. Wow, I hated that so much. I'm like, don't say that. I don't know, say to who, no. Don't say that. And that's when I realized, yeah, that was why it was so hard. Because if you were the lead pastor, I will be the one.
Yep.
I will be the gang leader that like, okay, talk to Kysern.
Yep.
I will talk to him. We are friends. We can take. So yeah, we're not different, I guess.
Yep. So we celebrate our
Similarities.
differences and similarities as well. And
Okay.
that's where we close for today's episode. Thank you once again for being a part of this conversation. Drop a note in the comments if you have any questions and if you need help as well in dealing with conflict in the church especially. We would love to help you in whatever way we can. Thank you and see you in the next episode of Hot Topics.
God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye.